Hello and welcome back to my channel. I haven't posted anything in a while because the month of May has been very busy for me, but I have worked some on this journal, so I finished it and I wanted to show it to you today. The cover is made of an old file divider, so it's pretty thick. It's thicker than like a manila folder, but it's not super thick. And then it has these metal pieces on it that have like the heading tabs, and the color is just this really beautiful seafoam green color. This fabric that I used is from the Tim Holtz Abandoned collection, and I thought it went really beautifully with this green. And this butterfly is made using watercolor paper that I just colored on and then die cut with the Tim Holtz Perspective Butterfly, which is one of my very favorite dies. That's Sizzix 665201. I love this die. It really is one of my favorites. But I just thought that would make a really beautiful cover for this book, because throughout the book there's a lot of butterflies. So when you open it, we've got another Perspective Butterfly, and it's got a ton of gold thread under it. I think that's just really pretty. This is also Tim Holtz fabric, and I can't remember the name of that one. I should have been more prepared, but I'm not. I also love these little clips. I just think they're a lot of fun. Little bulldog clips, and I think they're called mini clips, maybe. I'll have to look that up and check for sure. But the color theme throughout this journal is, the main color is like speckled egg, which I have in the Distress Oxide here, as well as the Distress Spray Stain. And I used this all throughout, along with just regular tea that I sprayed as well on the pages. And then of course I did a lot of stamping throughout. There's so many of these butterflies. These are from the Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz collection Flutter CMS 294. And I love these butterflies. They're super fun. I love them. But I used those throughout the journal as well. And I like to stamp them with StazOn ink onto acetate, and then when it's dry, cut them out. The StazOn will not smear on the acetate, but it gives them like a three-dimensional look, which is fun. It adds some texture and lift, and I of course like to use my little copper staples. When I do the acetate butterflies, I like to put them over a butterfly that's a different shape. And I don't know, I think it just kind of adds something fun that it's a different shape. But I used those throughout. More speckled egg splatters. This comes from, I used both of these throughout this journal. This one is here. It's the Patchwork Pieces CMS 270. And then I also, in this journal, used the Crochet Trims CMS 480. I like those really well, too. Lots of tags. I used Scorched Timber around all of the tags to give them a little bit of dimension. And then I used some of the fabric throughout. Each signature has one of these pages in the middle, just because I think it's fun. I kind of used a formula. I love graph paper, and this graph paper was perfect for this journal with the speckled egg, because the color really matches well. I used a lot of watercolor paper that I had painted with some gold ink, and just painted up some paper to kind of go with the color scheme, and used that in a lot of collage clusters throughout. Used a little bit of washi tape. Another butterfly. You're going to see them everywhere in this journal. This journal probably could have been a 2 to 3 signature journal, but I made 4 because I was just having so much fun making the paper when I made it. And then, you know, when I was laying everything out, after I started making it, I was like, okay, I should have used fewer pages, but I didn't. So this is a big book with lots of pages and tons of journaling space. Here's another stamp. Here's another ticket cluster that I just kind of made on my own. Another one of these butterflies. Here's another belly band. I don't have anything in there. I don't know why. I didn't put anything in that one. Another cluster. This journal is just a lot of the same, honestly, but it's just really pretty to me. And I just love a good half butterfly for some reason. So, poor butterflies, I'm constantly cutting them in half. Love my copper staples. Another butterfly. The gold. I don't know if the camera picks up how shimmery the gold is behind there. I also, in this book, used VersaFine Clair Sand Dune throughout on the pages for the stamping. I really love that color. It's one of my favorites. And then for the other stamping, this is going to be weathered wood. Love the weathered wood. Love speckled egg. And then I also threw out a little bit, used some of the pumice stone. Not a ton of that though. Didn't end up using that the way that I thought I would once I started using the Sand Dune and VersaFine Clair, because that just works it's really pretty. I like to make a little bow sometimes on the tags. Another perspective butterfly, half. Poor thing. Another little ticket thing that I made. Another half butterfly with one of these little clips. Turned out really pretty. More tags. This butterfly's pretty. That one's kind of cute. Another half butterfly. I really like that one. The gold really comes through on that one. That's Gold Ink by Dr. Paige Martins. This one turned out super cute. It's real dimensional. Maybe it was one of the last ones I put in, so it hasn't had a lot of time to flatten. And this is an embossing folder. This is going to be the Vault Diamonds. So it's a new version of an old embossing folder, but it's the Vault one. So it's 666867 is the number, and I love it. This pattern, the diamonds, is really one of my favorite of his patterns. I have, there's several of his papers have this in it. And then I also make my own because I've got several of these with that have the 2 background stamps on them. But this is the Zigzag and Diamonds CMS 242. This is obviously the zigzag. I love a good chevron. And then this is the diamonds. But this pattern is like one of my favorites, so I'm constantly using it to make my own papers kind of that mimic his. It's really, really pretty. But I used the embossing folder here, and then I used a little bit of gold. It's the Simon Hurley lunar paste that I used to kind of go over some of that. Little tuck spot up here, so I can put this kind of tag in there. This paper is from his abandoned collection. And it's actually, this one is the new one. I have some of the old too, but I use that paper sparingly. I love it. Another tag, another butterfly with some gold thread. Love the gold thread. More journaling space. Oh, another butterfly. Imagine that. I like to just take some of these papers and make like a little book to stick in here. Another tag, another cluster. Another tag, another tag. I love this. More tags. More butterflies, another half butterfly. I really love this one. Just love a good half butterfly. Another tag. Some of these papers turned out so pretty. Love them. More papers, more tickets. Another butterfly. Another whale tail punch. Whale tail tag punch. Another butterfly, some more fabric. Love all the texture that adds. More tickets or tags. Another cluster. And then another perspective butterfly half. So anyway, that is my latest journal, and I love the way this feels on the watercolor paper. But that's the latest journal, and I hope that you like it. Let me know what you think. Bye.